All right, so I would like to call upon firstly Ms. Roma Balwani to kindly come up and share her thoughts with all of us today.
I hope he has the presentation. Yeah. So good evening, everybody, and thank you, Rusen ji, for inviting me here. I see some of my old colleagues. It's so wonderful to see you all after many years. And today I stand before you as a very newly minted CEO of a non-profit, which I never imagined I would be associated with, but I think Providence plays its own role. And just in July, I accepted this position, and I thought that the whole day of CSR must be focused on education, skilling, and many other things that are very, very important for our social life as well. And giving back becomes very important for everybody. In my small way, many years back, I met a gentleman who couldn't speak, but he conveyed so much to me. And from that time onwards, which is 2014, I retired from Mahindra in 2014, joined Vedanta Resources in 2014, continued that stint till of April of 2022. And I sat back and I reflected. I'm a storyteller, so bear with me. And I said, I have to give back of the 3 decades of what the world, what society has given to me. And I've taken up one of the most challenging assignments. I heard some of the previous speakers saying funds have dried. It's not easy to run a foundation. And it's not easy to run something which is a celebration of some sorts. You hear about cricket, you hear about Virat Kohli, you hear about the immense amount of funding that goes into sponsorship, but you never hear about any such sponsorship that really comes our way for disability sport, and be it any disability sport. Let's not just concentrate on deaf cricket, but on any disability sport. So I think here I am in front of you all to really plea and tell you all about people who can speak much more and who can speak volumes and not really speak. And that's something that I would like to share my journey with them. 2014, they came to me, I was at Vedanta, and they said, can you sponsor a small cup for a deaf cricket? I said, what is deaf cricket? I mean, I've heard of regular cricket. What is deaf cricket? They said, can you join us for this deaf cricket match that we are having? And I got excited because they said it's at Dharamsala. Now, Dharamsala is a very exotic place to go, and I never knew that we have one of the best stadiums in the country at Dharamsala. One of the best that you could really enjoy nature, go and take your blessings at the Dalai Lama's feet, at the same time do your good job, and which is what I did, and I got hooked on. And from that day onwards, this young boy has been in touch with me on WhatsApp every single day, 365 days in a year. Hats off to him. Today he's got me standing in front of you all as the CEO of IDCA. So this is my tribute to Sumit Jain. Let's take the next slide. So in the meantime, as I'm getting an opportunity to storytell, how many of you all know that there's so much of disability in this country? Do you all know the statistics that we are looking at? Let me give you something which is closer to what I'm going to speak on. And these are statistics which actually I was surprised to note. It says, through the WHO estimates in India, there are approximately 63 million people who are suffering from significant auditory impairment. This places the estimated prevalence of 6.3 in Indian population. And what is important through that, and what is the government trying to do? You're seeing our Prime Minister, you're seeing our Sports Minister going forward to look at sports, and we have become a sporting nation. But if we have become a sporting nation, we need to see disabilities with the same lens as we see the regular sports. And through sports, we know that persons with disabilities acquire vital social skills, develop independence, and become empowered to act as agents of change. I think sport teaches individuals how to communicate effectively, as well as the significance of teamwork and cooperation and respect for others. So let me just walk you through a small presentation of Indian Deaf Cricket Association, which is with a heart and a soul, and it is meant, as I mentioned, something that Sumit Jain envisaged as his dream. And he is, there are foundations, there are corporates who create CSR foundations, but this one lone person was a school kid in a government school. And he had this disability, and he had a dream that he would like to nurture deaf talent. And this is his dream that we are standing in front of you to talk about deaf cricket. Let's go forward. So they took a leap of faith. They had no funding. They didn't know where to start. But these kids came together and they started playing from the age of 6. From the age of 6, they did gully cricket. Then they went on to look at some coach who could support them. He's still their coach. If you see Mr. MP Singh, he is somebody who's so inspiring. You don't hear him speak. When I first met him, and I met him when I helped them create the first World Cup in India in 2018. And I said, what an humble person, completely quiet, sitting in a corner, and then somebody told me he's Mr. Dhoni is coach. And I said, look at this. Look at the way how people can inspire us. And they're simple people, but they do good work. They do extraordinary work. And that's how it started. And he told them that he will help them. Cricket grounds were expensive. You couldn't even afford to hire a cricket ground. But he persisted. He went to the Sports Authority. He was part of that committee. He said, give these kids a chance. Let them come forward because they're kids who have got talent. And let's nurture this talent. Let's take the next slide. And today, to proudly state, Sumit started Deaf Cricket Society. When I knew them in 2015, it was Deaf Cricket Society. I just sponsored that one cup, which was 25,000, which my CEO was very generous enough to give. And then after that started all the matches where I don't know how Sumit got his funds, how he could go across, and that really takes me to the next part, which is the power of persuasion. And his persuasion was so good that he could go forward in his deaf and dumb way to convince us people who can talk eloquently much better than what we can convince anybody. And that inspires everybody. So here's this young man who does this single-mindedly for others. Giving back, I learned from him really. He taught me really giving back, what giving back means. We do big things. Let's start with small things. And that's where I started with him. Today, he has put together an apex body. I told him, Sumit, you're stretching yourself. He said, he always, is in touch with me on WhatsApp. He says, if I don't do it, who will do it? He went to BCCI. He pleaded with them last 4 years that please, y'all have a quota. Y'all have a differently abled quota. Why can't you give it to us? Red tapeism, y'all keep reading about BCCI. I don't need to tell you all more. But he succeeded. He succeeded in getting a differently abled committee onboarded. Yes, with the help of Jay Shah, the secretary of BCCI. He went and gave him a presentation and he said, yes, we need to do that. So last AGM of BCCI, Sumit and the other sports, which is all for cricket, whether it's wheelchair, whether it's physically handicapped, whether it's blind, he took them along. He didn't say, I just want you to start a deaf cricket. He said, you should look at every disability. And in our constitution, we have a Disability Act, which tells you to promote disability sports, and you should promote infrastructure for them, give them a level playing field. I don't think we even think about that. Let's take the next one. I think this is something which we have coined for ourselves that players can worry less. We should inspire them to play as mainstream cricketers. And that's what we endeavor to do. Today we have 30 state deaf associations, cricketing associations, who are now affiliated with IDCA, and they're promoting state-level cricket for deaf. It starts from gully cricket. And I'm hoping that some point in time, either Ranveer Singh or Ranbir will come forward and take them on, because they talk about gully cricket. And some of these celebrities need to come forward and take up a cause. I think cause is very important. And if you believe in that cause like I do, which I didn't know that it existed in me, that I would be promoting deaf cricket, I think we can move forward in this regard. Let's go forward. Like I said, from gully cricket, aspire to become professional cricket, play for the country, and make India proud. I think that's what we did from Deaf Cricket Society to IDCA today. Memberships, I just mentioned BCCI, I mentioned the Differently Abled Cricket Committee. Today we are going to be playing in Sharjah with the Deaf ICC, and the whole team is ready. They are trained. They need funds. They need to travel. They need to be taken care of, and that's what we are here endeavoring to do, that from like-minded foundations, from corporates, urging you all to support IDCA. And the power of cricket, I can't say more. It is very important that as I mentioned in my opening statement, that this is what it does to you. Let's take the next one. We are a small team, and we look forward to your support. Next. This is the next national tournament, which will be held in Agra. Next. The international tournament I spoke about, which is in Sharjah. These are the participating countries. When I did the 2018 World Cup, we had 5 nations participating. Today we have so many. And why the hearing impaired team? Let's go to the next one. This is what they actually did during 2018. Brett Lee was there as one of our guests of honor. He's also the brand ambassador of cochlear implant. Let's go next. A lot of championships have been won since 2012. Let's go next. These are our star performers. This is the cricket team. We are very proud of them. And they come from underprivileged backgrounds. All of them come from underprivileged backgrounds. The social impact, which is very relevant in today's context. Let's take that. Next. 2% covers disability sport. Please look at it a little more carefully. This is the most important slide for me, because not many people understand that. When I was talking to Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, I said, what made you put this? He said, this is one of the areas of neglect. And this is one of the areas we need to concentrate on, because skilling, education, rural development, everything gets taken care of. Gender equality, I'm the first to speak. So I think it's very important to look at this also in this context, because it can go from your CSR funds. I'm not looking for sponsors. That'll come later. I'm just 2 months old in this job, and I'm sure I'll succeed like I did at Mahindra's with the Mahindra Rice campaign, and I did at Vedanta with Desh ki Zaruraton ke liye. Ye jhanda lehrayega. Thank you.